But we begin our day with a fictional television series named after its star, Newhart, set in a quaint Vermont inn that Bob Newhart's character ran with his wife, played by Mary Fran. It was the follow-up series to his previous hit, The Bob Newhart Show. And on the series finale that aired on May 21st, 1990, Newhart ended with a callback to The Bob Newhart Show in what many claim to be the cleverest finale in sitcom history.
All right, Bob. What is it?
Well, I was an innkeeper in this crazy little town in Vermont.
It was bold, brilliant, and completely unexpected. In its series finale, Newhart revealed that its entire 8-season run was no more than a dream by the protagonist of Bob Newhart's previous sitcom. Newhart's reputation as a groundbreaking comedian goes back to his stand-up days, when he used a telephone to transform monologues into one-sided dialogues.
The great thing about the telephone is the audience supplies have to work, like especially in the Abe Lincoln routine. When I talk to Abe and telling him I'm an advisor, and to keep pointing out to Abe that no, Abe, please do it our way. We know what we're doing.
You changed 7 to 87? I understand it means the same thing, Abe. Well, Abe, that's meant to be a grabber.
The audience is supplying the unheard half. And so when the routine's over and they're applauding, they're really applauding themselves because they did the heavy lifting. I just made them think.
Newhart's stand-up success eventually led the producers of the Mary Tyler Moore Show to offer him a series.
We sat around and up came the idea of occupations. What should we have Bob do? I said, well, you know, in the telephone routines, he listens to people, so what's an occupation where people just listen? And they said, well, it's a psychiatrist. And I said, well, I think a psychiatrist kind of deals with seriously disturbed people, much as I personally would enjoy deriving humor from that. So we made it a psychologist.
At the time, Suzanne Plachette was an in-demand film actress.
My manager, who was also a founder of MTM, Arthur Price, he said, I think I found your wife. And I said, oh, good, I didn't know she was missing, Parumbum. And and he said, well, Susie was on with Carson last night. I think she'd be perfect. I said, oh, Susie's great. I'd known Susie. We'd, run into each other at parties. And I said, do you think she wants to do a television show? He said, well, let me call her and find out. And she did.
The Bob Newhart Show premiered in September 1972. The relationship between its central characters, Bob and Emily Hartley, was both grown-up and groundbreaking.
I wasn't even aware that it had never been done before, but Susie and I were in the same bed. That had never been shown on television before. So it was up to us to break the news to the American public that married people actually slept in the same bed. Because Mary Tyler Moore and Dick Van Dyke, they had twin beds. And it's just the relationship with Susie, that she was her own woman. She was strong, but at the same time, she was a wife and supportive. And there was a chemistry there that we didn't realize that it just was there.
In one episode, which Newhart cites as a personal favorite, Bob and Emily both take an IQ test.
And she said, oh, you got 129. I said, was that good? She said, oh, that's almost gifted. So really, wow, that's amazing. Almost gifted, right? Yeah. I said, well, honey, what was your score? And she said, Bob, I don't think it's important what my score was.
Well, honey, don't be embarrassed. I had 4 more years of college than you had on your PhD.
Bobby, It's 151.
The series ran 6 seasons, earning both accolades and awards. 6 years after it ended, Bob Newhart became one of the few TV stars to score 2 hit series, which he debuted in a second sitcom titled Newhart, in which he played a character very much like his previous one, only a Vermont innkeeper instead of a psychologist. Newhart had an even longer run than its predecessor, but by the time its 8th season rolled around, the actor told his wife Jenny he'd had enough.
I was unhappy with CBS at that time because they kept moving us around. I said, I think this is going to be the final year. And without a beat, she said, you should end the show on a dream sequence that where you and Emily wake up in bed, and this has all been a dream of Newhart.
What made the idea attractive was that there were many elements of the Newhart series that seemed to operate on dream logic.
I mean, the maid was an heiress. Her husband talked in alliteration. The handyman didn't know what he was doing. And there were these 3 guys from West Virginia, and what the hell they were doing in Vermont.
I'm Larry. This is my brother Daryl. That's my other brother Daryl.
Suzanne Plachette agreed to the plan, and to keep it a secret, a decoy finale script was written.
I get hit in the head with a golf ball. And there's God, which is George Burns. And George Burns and I have this conversation about the world, which we never intended to shoot. We never even contacted George.
Camera, action.
On the day of the filming, the audience was quick to figure out something was up.
They have a thing called a floater, which is a piece of a screen that you put in front of a scene so that people aren't distracted. Their attention is focused. And so they pulled the screen away, which was the bedroom from the Bob Newhart show. And people started applauding. They started applauding the bedroom.
But the applause for the set was nothing compared to the reveal of who was under the covers. The Newhart finale ranks as one of the most acclaimed concluding episodes in television history and cemented the show and its predecessor as beloved classics, which continue to find new viewers today.
I knew we were going to be in syndication because most shows go into syndication. So I said, let's not do any Gerald Ford jokes because 10, 12 years from now, they're going to look pretty stupid. But I had no idea that 45 years later, that the people would still be watching it, which again is a tribute to the cast and to the writers.